to have them turned off, but as soon as I get out of the airspace, we'll turn them on for you folks, okay? We also have 4 cameras on this aircraft. One of them is on the inside. So for the camera on the inside, everybody, you can get a thumbs up. We're briefed and we're all good in the back there. Not much headroom there for you guys, huh? Alright. Let's get the AC going in here. Well, my name is Elio, everyone. And again, good morning. Welcome to Blue. It's got about a 15-minute run around the island today. It's pretty nice weather, so it should be a nice little run. Alright, let's go. We've got our clearance. You guys are more than welcome to start using your phones now too.
Waking up to ash and dust, I wipe my brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the chemicals. I'm breaking in, shaping up, then checking out on the prison bus. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa, I'm waking up. I suppose we're painted red to fit right in. Whoa. I'm breaking in, shaping up, then checking out on the prison bus. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa. I'm waking up, I feel it in my bones. No, don't make my system blow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age, welcome to the new age.
Alright, so a little bit about this area here, everyone, before we kind of zip out of here. The harbor down here to the right is called Na Pali Coastline. It's our only deep harbor we have on the island here, so this is pretty much where everything comes into the island here. The stream that feeds into it is called the Hula stream. It was made famous in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Indiana Jones was filmed on it. And if you guys follow the stream up, there's a pond off to the right of it there. It's pretty big. It's one of the few fish ponds we have left on the island, built by the Hawaiians a long time ago, about 900 years ago they think. And its purpose was to hold fish for the elite, or the royalty here on Kauai. Up ahead, to the right of the ridge line there, with big open fields over there, what is called grass. It's primarily used for growing sugarcane by the Rice family who own it. Up until it no longer became our island export. Now they just use it as areas they use to raise beef cattle, and they also have a ATV tour they do on it as well. It's kind of neat. They're coming up on the left here, so Elizabeth, since you are on this left side here with me, you'll probably have the best view of it. But there are 3 half-shaped moon beaches here. This area is called Kipukai. The beaches were used in a few movies: 6 Days, 7 Nights, Harrison Ford, The Descendants with George Clooney, and Jurassic Park Lost World was also filmed down there. The property up to the beaches is all privately owned by the Waterhouse family. So there are no trails or public trails to any of those beaches down there.
It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at them stars.
Okay, mics are on, everybody. And we're out of the airspace, so welcome again. Let's see here. So, Ann and Marcus, you guys are together, is that correct? Where are you guys from?
Atlanta, Georgia.
I liked Atlanta. You guys have a nice aquarium up there. Big aquarium.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
Yeah. The only aquarium I know has got a whale shark in it. Oh, it's pretty big. I lived in Fayetteville for a little bit, so went to Atlanta quite a bit.
Were you in the 82nd?
Nope. No military for me, but I just lived in that town for a little bit. Yeah. You?
Yeah, I was in for 6 years. Man.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Well, thanks for your service, man. That's epic. So Elizabeth, Zachary, and Jordan, you guys are all one group too as well?
Yeah.
Where are you guys from?
Utah?
Nice. Northern? Southern?
Like southern? More southern, I guess, in the middle. Right?
Nice. My wife went to Weber State. Yeah. Got some friends that live in Ogden as well. But cool, welcome everybody. And where are you guys staying on the island? East side, north side?
We're in Princeville.
Okay, the north side. How about you folks?
We're in Poitou.
Okay, clear out to my left here, south side of the island. Nice. You all just get here, or you been here for a little bit, or?
We got here on Monday.
Monday? You've been here a little bit. Few days? You guys?
Been here for like 4 days.
Alright, cool. Well, welcome. Excellent. Good to know. A little bit about me real quick, since you guys will be stuck with me for the next 15 minutes. I grew up here, from here, went to flight school here on the island, and then left promptly at 18. I was gone for a good 19 years or so. So a lot of my time is in the oil and gas industry, so I spent a lot of time south, Louisiana, Texas, Florida, and then a bunch of time in South America for Exxon, teaching the locals of Guyana and Southern Caribbean how to fly. So back home now. I've been home now for about a year and a half, coming up on 2, I guess now. And it's nice to be home, so good change. I get to fly you folks around, so welcome to Kauai, welcome to my home. First time? Yeah, everybody, I think you guys mentioned that earlier. First time here to Kauai. Oh, welcome. So let's talk about Kauai. Kauai is as the Garden Island. It's only about 553 square miles. It's not the biggest, nor is it the smallest, but it does have a tendency to feel pretty small after you lived here for a while, because only about 30% of the island is accessible by foot or by vehicle. The other 70% of the island is either privately owned or the terrain just doesn't allow you to get to some parts of the island. So most of the tour today is going to be of the interior of the island, areas that you can't get to, and even some of the valleys you can't even hike into. So it's a nice day today. Might be a few bumps here and there, as we just felt. For the most part, it's going to be a beautiful day here. So off to my left, some of you folks already know about Poipu. Moving further to the west here, we have the town of Omao, Lauai, and then Kalaheo. And Kalaheo hosts our only island export besides the beef that we have here on the island, and that is our coffee. And the big facility out there by the ocean, kind of all by itself, is the coffee plantation out there. So it's about 3,500 acres of coffee they have here on the island. The next town moving further down towards the west there is called Hanapepe, and that means crushed bay in Hawaii. And it fronts this valley here, Hanapepe Valley. In this valley, we have a waterfall commonly known as the Jurassic Falls, because it was used in the original 1992 Jurassic Park movie. I'm sure everyone has seen that movie.
It's enough to make me cry. That don't seem like it will make you feel better. The answers could be found, we could love.
runs all the way over to the town of Waimea. Then it runs to a point up this valley to the highest mountain we have on the island called Na Pali Coastline. Quite a bit of property here on Kauai. A lot of it they used primarily for just growing sugarcane a long time ago.
On the island, we do it island style.
Big change in the terrain. Went from real green and lush to dry, rocky, and hot looking. And that is because this is considered the leeward side of the island, or the Kona side. We have two big mountains on this island. One I mentioned already, Na Pali Coastline, and the other one, Mount Waimea, and they do a pretty good job of blocking all the moisture that comes off of the trade winds there. So it dumps it all on the north side, principal area, and then on the east as well. Pretty much nothing here on this side. It does rain in here, but it's got to be a pretty big storm to make it over those mountains.
On the island, we do it island style. From the mountain to the ocean, from the Waimea to the leeward side.
So the property for Robinson's pretty much ends right underneath us here. Everything forward now, the helicopter is now back owned by the state. Has anyone had a chance to come up here to the canyons yet? Not yet? Yeah, use the mic.
Into that this afternoon.
Are you going to do it this afternoon? Very nice. You folks in the back?
We haven't yet, but we're planning on it.
Yeah, nice. You guys like hiking and stuff like that? Plan on doing some hiking?
Yeah.
Cool.
On the island, we do it island.
So the road that you use to get up here runs along this rim line here off to my left. The top, we'll fly right over it here in just a little bit. There's a couple nice lookouts along the way. They overlook this whole valley here, this whole canyon here. And the road drops into a valley, opens up, and there's a cafe and a museum there. It's a great place to stop, use the restroom, but don't end it there. Continue down the road, and the road will take you to the very end at a lookout over a big valley on the Na Pali side called Kauai. It's a very pretty lookout, so looks pretty clear this morning there. So Waimea means reddish water in Hawaiian. Gets its name from all that red dirt you guys see down there. So it does rain in here, it gets into the river and turns it like a muddy red looking color. The discoloration in the soil, it comes from iron that is just oxidized over the years. So it's basically just rust.
We eat and drink and we sing all day. County coffee line, the old Hawaiian way on the island.
Canyon's about 9 miles in, so a good 3,500 feet up, and a good 3 miles wide.
From the mountain to the ocean, from the Waimea to the
So coming up here in the back, we have another waterfall. It's called Waterfalls, and it's not flowing very hard right now because it's a rain-fed waterfall. It's kind of hiding in the shadows there about my 1 o'clock. But I like showing it because there's a really nice hiking trail to the top of it. It's called the Canyon Trail. It takes about an hour and a half to get in for the most part. So a good 3 hours round trip. The trail takes you to the top of it, so you can't really see the waterfall from the end of the trail. But if you guys do hike it, bring your swim gear, because there's some nice swimming holes at the top that you can swim in. See the people on the top there? Already walking it and hiking it. Other nice little hiking trails, which are much longer than the Canyon Trail though. It's called Nuololo and Puhi, and they kind of end on the Na Pali side. It overlooks some really cool valleys that we'll fly into today. The Kauai is pretty much the oldest island in the whole chain of all the other islands, so our canyons and our mountains here look very rugged in comparison to, say, like Maui or even the Big Island. It just had a lot more time to erode over the hundreds of thousands of years this place has been around. When Kauai was first born, it was over 9,000 feet high. Now it's only about 5,000, so it's slowly deteriorating just from erosion. We have some animals in here. We got goats that like the canyons. The goats also like the Na Pali side. We have black-tailed deer up on the top here, kind of where the forest area is. We have pigs. They are everywhere. I'm sure you guys will probably see them on the side of the road running around. And they are only outnumbered by the army of chickens you guys have probably seen here on this island. We have entirely way too many. That road I talked about runs right here underneath us here. Off to the left, you can see it as well. Elizabeth, one of the lookouts actually over there. Yeah, so all of which those animals are all hunted except for the chickens. They don't have any natural predators here, so they kind of just take over. But directly out in front of us by the shoreline, the big facility there, that is our only military base we have in the islands, Navy, the Pacific Missile Range Base. And I kind of pointed out because that's pretty much where the main road ends on this side of the island here. It does turn into a dirt road that takes you out to a state park called Polahale. But the road is not very car friendly. If you have a Jeep, great. The truck, it's even better. But I don't recommend taking your car down it at all. So a lot of this area here is all owned by the state for the most part, and the cabins that you might see kind of hiding in some of these trees here are all leased out by the state to like organizations and churches and stuff like that.
Me a beer, and I'ma keep playing this music that you hear. And if you know the song, then come and sing along with me.
Facility off to the left here, right on the cliff, works hand in hand with the missile range base down by the shoreline. The tracking station, so when they shoot missiles off the shoreline, there they'll use this facility here to track kind of where they run off to. But technically, we've been kind of paralleling the Na Pali coast here. And it's kind of it's not the boring, I call it the boring section. Real pretty, beautiful, fluting cliff line just coming right up here, kind of directly out in front of us off to our right. Elizabeth, when we come off this cliff line here, look down to your left, and you'll see a really cool reef section. Probably the best snorkeling on this whole island. The only catch to it, though, is you gotta have a boat to get to it. So a lot of the Na Pali tours will come out here and they'll let you snorkel here when it's calm enough.
Anybody here, pass me the rum, and we can find somebody who can play the steel drums.
So the new Lolo Trail is right underneath us.
And everybody dance with me.
The trail I mentioned. So welcome to the beautiful, very picturesque Na Pali coast, everybody.
And everybody's faded at the
other trail I mentioned, the Ava Puhi Trail. This ridge line right here, it runs right up to the top. It ends right up on the top. I think it's like a 4.5 hour hike. So that was called Nuololo. No trails into here. You can't anchor a boat out front and kind of swim in and then hike your way back up into here, but no official trails or anything like that. Archaeologists think that this is the first valley that Polynesians kind of settled in, things that they have found in here. And they predate the Hawaiians by about 200 years, so there were a group of people living here in the islands prior to the Hawaiians showing up. valley we're going into here is called Hompu. Means conch shell in Hawaiian. Hawaiian is named in that. When the wind blows pretty hard out of the northwest, it's ripping into here. Kind of bounces off these fluted ridgelines in here, and it makes a howling noise like you get if you blew through a conch shell. But like Nu'ualu, Hompu has no trails into it. This one's being a little harder to get into it because you would as well have to park your boat out front, swim in, and then climb about a 100-foot cliff to get all the way in the back here. It's not the easiest place to get to by foot. Elizabeth, you get the first awesome look out of this valley this morning here. This valley was also known for a type of cordage the Hawaiians would use for rope, or make rope out of it. And it's called Olona, O-L-O-N-A. And according to some of Captain Cook's journal entries they found, that the Europeans actually preferred it over their hemp rope because it lasted a lot longer in the whole salty environment here, which is kind of neat. Coming around the corner here, next big beach that you guys will see right off to my right, this is called Kalalau Beach. It is the end the real popular Kalalau Trail. 11 miles in, and it does require permits to access or to hike into it. Hey friends, the big valley here, coming around the corner, called Kalalau. This is the valley I mentioned that road up in the canyon dead ends at, and there's a lookout at the top and the back. So from the ocean all the way to the back, it's about 4,100 feet up in there. It's quite the valley. A lot of history in this valley here. There were said to be over 3,500 Hawaiians that lived in here about the time Captain Cook anchored out in front of Waimea in 1778. And that's still anywhere between 500 to 1,000 into the early 20th century. They used every inch of this place in here. If you ever do hike up into here, you can see some of the ancient terracings that they did for growing crops and platforms for their little homes that they would build in here. In the 1860s, the Europeans came in here and they started growing coffee and oranges. And they are the ones kind of responsible for making the Kalalau Trail somewhat more accessible. And they did that with a bunch of dynamite for their pack animals so they could get them in and out of here for the oranges and coffee. Prior to that, the trail was used and made by the Hawaiians, but only used kind of during the winter time when they couldn't bring a boat into the beach here. So the trail was pretty mean. And some areas they had to have rope ladders and stuff like that to get over some of these ridgelines here prior to the Europeans. Elizabeth, you can see Kalalau Beach now a little better. Coming around the corner, you can see the trail. It's kind of further up on the ridgeline there. It kind of looks like a little piece of line or shoelace kind of laying along the ridgeline there. It's kind of hard to see it the way the shadows are right now, but you can kind of see it. Elizabeth, you can see it as well on your side here, but it moves really, really close to the cliff line, and it blends in really well with the red dirt. Same thing, it looks like a little piece of string on it. Does anybody have a tour on the Na Pali here for the boats? You guys do?
We did it yesterday.
Okay, so good. So you know about the sea caves and everything like that, you know. Is it pretty bumpy?
Yes.
I was flying over yesterday, I was like, man, that's gotta be miserable.
Yeah, we didn't get to snorkel in the one spot that you were talking about.
Yeah.
It was too rough, which is a bummer, but we still got a good spot, so.
Yeah, nice, good. There's some other good snorkeling on the island, too. How about you folks in the back?
Yeah, we did it yesterday too. It was super rough.
not really good snorkeling anyways when the water's like that because there's so much sediment in the water. So, kind of bummed because I really enjoyed diving, free diving, stuff like that, so it kind of stinks this time of year. But this area is here called Honakoa. It means Bay of Warrior. It was known for the real tall koa trees that used to grow in here. This is also about the halfway point on that trail. Might be a few bumps here, guys, coming off the shoreline. The beach down there to the right is called Hanakapiai. It is the first 2 miles of the Kalala Trail. So you don't need permits to hike to that beach. Once you get to the beach, if you want more, you can hike another 2 up into the valley and way in the back. There's a beautiful waterfall with a really big pool that you can swim in and hang out in. It's highly worth it if you guys like to hike.
You said you don't need a permit to hike up there?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You don't need a permit to hike right there?
Not to that beach, no.
Back in Jordan and
sorry, I was making a position call, guys. So one last good turn here, Elizabeth. You can see Hanakapiai, and everybody wanted a look of the beautiful Na Pali this morning here. Yeah, no permits. There's a catch though, and I'll kind of talk about that here in just a second. I'm sure you guys probably already kind of know about it. Hanakapiai Valley is known for a little sucker fish called oopu. Grew about 8-9 inches long at the biggest, and they kind of live in the bottom of the river. When it's time to lay their eggs, they'll scale that huge waterfall in the back and then lay their eggs at the top. Hawaiians like eating them. It's real sweet, fleshy meat, kind of like halibut, I think, in my opinion. Just way too much work for such a tiny fish. But they're only found here in Hawaii, so it's kind of neat. Endemic little fish here. So welcome to the North Shore. It's kind of my backyard here. I grew up on this side of the island. The beach off to the right down there with the lagoon, that's called Cave. And the catch that I mentioned earlier about hiking that Hanakapiai Trail and that beach is that parking lot there. So that parking lot requires a parking pass. You can get them online. They sell out really quick. Just as a heads up, there is a bus or a shuttle pass you can get as well. You guys might know about that as well. Past the parking lot, kind of further down the road, there's a house right at the bottom of the mountain there. It's kind of tucked in the back there. It's got a gray roof on it. Underneath some of the coconut trees. It's a little hard to see right now with the way the sun is, but it's called Limahuli Garden, and it overlooks an old ancient Hawaiian village that was a very prestigious hula school. People from all of the other islands, all of the Hawaiians would come here to learn hula at this hula heiau. This big reef section here is called Tunnels. Good snorkeling. It's, in my opinion, probably the second best on the island. 1, just because it's easily accessible, and 2, this reef out here is like one of the only reefs that's regulated when it comes to fishing, so the fish are pretty friendly. Off to my left out here, Elizabeth, this whole area out here is a big humpback whale sanctuary. So during the winter time, the whales will come down from Alaska and they like to hang out here on this side. Directly out in front of us, there's a little finger of land that sticks out there. There's a lighthouse out there, and it is the most northern point that we have on the island. It's called the Kilauea Lighthouse. The town of Kilauea is on the inside. That's kind of where I grew up. Coming closer towards us, we have the big reef section of Anini, and you keep coming towards us, there's kind of a cliff, rocks kind of directly in front of us there, and this is where Queen's Bath is. You guys been there? You guys went to Queen's Bath?
Yeah, we went 2 days ago.
Nice. Was it pretty nice? Not too waves? Not too many waves?
We went during low tide, so
Okay.
it was nice.
Nice. Elizabeth, Zachary, Jordan, you guys been to Queen's Bath at all? Not yet?
Haven't yet, but we're planning on it.
Good, good. It's pretty calm today, so it's going to be really safe. A nice place to swim and hang out. It's not the safest place in the wintertime, by any means. But on the hill here, directly in front of us, this is Princeville. Kind of the rich, bougie area here on the north side. I highly recommend hanging out, or at least stopping in Kilauea. They have a really good fish market there, so if you like fish wraps and stuff like that. They're a little obsessed with their coffee, so they have way too many coffee shops there in Kilauea, but if you're going to come all the way on this side, stop in Kilauea, it's pretty neat. Off to the right here of Hanalei, we have, at Princeville, the town of Hanalei and Hanalei Bay. This bay is fantastic. It's probably my second favorite town on the entire island. There's lots to do down here. Surfing, stand-up paddleboarding, kayaking, e-foiling, you name it. So we kind of move back towards the interior of the island here. We have three really big valleys on this side of the island. We have the Waimea Valley, off to the forward right, way out there. Directly in front of us we have the Lumahai. And of course we have the Hanalei Valley, kind of on the other side of that ridgeline that we will be flying south in here shortly. You guys spend much time in Hanalei yet? Can I hang out a little bit? You guys been to Hanalei? You guys like it?
Honestly, I can't remember where. Have we been there?
Yeah, we stopped 2 days ago.
You what?
We stopped 2 days ago. And
We stopped 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Cool. So the mountain directly in front of us here is called Mamalahoa, and it means steadfast in Hawaiian. One of the pretty backdrops here to Hanalei. It does have a lot of waterfalls on it, but it's got to rain pretty hard, and they're all rain-fed. But all the vertical lines you see, and as we kind of move back more into the interior as well, you'll see a lot more dry vertical lines. All the big agriculture fields, Elizabeth, behind the town there. Those are taro fields. You guys know what taro is? Heard of taro, I'm sure. You know what poi is? Tried poi? Do you like poi? No?
I don't think we've heard of it yet.
Oh, you never heard of it? Okay. I keep seeing a nodding head, so. Taro is a big staple food here in Hawaii. It's a starchy root that grows in standing water. Traditionally steamed. And once it's steamed, you can just eat it like a potato. But the Hawaiians took it a step further and they smashed it up and they added water to it and turned it into this purple, pasty, tasteless, goopy deliciousness.
Okay, I think we have had that.
I'm sure you have. Kind of an acquired taste for most. They make donuts out of taro now. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, we went to that Holy Grail.
Holy Grail, yeah, the food truck,
yeah. It was good.
Yeah, nice. This waterfall here is called Namalikama. It stands about 2,400 feet up. It's one of the bigger ones we have here, but it is rain-fed, so it will dry up. We don't get enough rain here on the island. Got about 30 little pools all the way down. It's pretty neat.
Is this accessible?
No, not really. I guess you could walk up the river, but there's some privately owned land up in front, kind of by Hanalei, so it makes it really difficult to get back up in here. A real cool waterfall you can't get to, though, is up the Wailua River. It's the Secret Falls. I don't know if you guys heard of it? Yeah. You gotta kayak up and then hike up to it. It's pretty neat.
We're doing the kayak tour tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Good. Good for you guys. Alright, so real quick before we take this right turn and head south up this valley here, kind of off to my forward left there, kind of see the town of Kilauea a little bit better towards the ocean. Everything past it out towards the northeast between the mountains there, a little gap. Zuckerberg owns about 700 acres of property out there, so he owns quite a bit here on the north side of the island. Everything on the right side of this river towards the mountain is owned by the state. Everything on the left side to where those power lines are, last I knew, was owned by a very rich, wealthy gentleman in Korea. Past the power lines towards the mountain range there. It goes back to the state. So a lot of private landowners here on the island. It's kind of neat thing in Hawaii, no one's allowed to own a beach, and no one is allowed to own a river. So technically, all beaches and rivers are public access. So those 3 half-shaped moon beaches that I mentioned earlier when we first took off, if you have a boat, you have access to those beaches. Some of the property that Zuckerberg owns borders right along some really nice beaches that are good for fishing at. It's kind of nice because we still have access to that as well. But the rivers are kind of neat. You know, growing up here, we definitely took that to our advantage. But this valley gets a lot of water. The Hawaiians did live in here, but nowhere near to the same extent as they did in Kalalau. Primarily because this place floods all the time. The island was divided up into 6 different districts for the Hawaiians. We kind of took off in the East Kona district. We moved into the West Kona. We dropped into the Na Pali district. We are in the Hanalei district now. The area where I mentioned that Zuckerberg owns, that's called the Kauai district. And I don't know if you guys will notice, but maybe kind of look at some of the little signs along the roads, and you'll see the signs that they say Kauai. You'll see the signs that say Kahili and stuff like that. It's kind of what I'm talking about, how they divide the island up. The last district was called the Puna district, and that's right on this other side of this ridge line here. Very important to the Hawaiians because it faced the opening of this mountain here, Waialeale. When I mean opening, I mean the crater. Couple more waterfalls here, guys. On the right side, and then we'll bring off to the left for you, Elizabeth. Well, these are the Twin Falls. I do not know the Hawaiian name for them, but they are a spring-fed waterfall. So welcome to the Puna district here, the whole east side of the island here. I mentioned it was important to the Hawaiians, so much so that all the elite royalty lived on this side, and they specifically lived at the mouth of the Waialua River. So you guys, when you go kayaking tomorrow, that whole area when you put in, that was all royalty land. And they liked it because it faced the opening, as I mentioned, of Waialeale here. The river is fed by the stream that comes directly out of the crater here. The Waialua River is the largest freshwater river in the state of Hawaii and the only navigable freshwater river as well. So kayaking, of course, and then they take river boats up and water ski on it and stuff like that. Well, I hope I can get you guys in here. So this crater was very sacred to the Hawaiians. They did not come into it very much, but they did go to the very top. And from the Waialua River, there was a trail called the King's Path. And it ran from the mouth of the Waialua River all the way up here. And I don't know if it was on the left or right side of these ridge lines where it ran. It's the old trail. I don't think anyone's done it in like 100 years or so. But at the top, there is a heiau, or a Hawaiian temple that the Hawaiians built to the most powerful god that they believed in, Kane. But this is the center of Kauai. and it's hard. My favorite view on the whole island, right
Just for a day, our king and queen would visit all these islands and so.
Pretty cool place. You can hike into here, but there's not really any specific trail. There is a road that comes most of the way up here, and it stops, and it's still like 4 hours into the back here just because it's so rugged and rough to get in here. The Kauai was the only island that wasn't taken by force by Kamehameha when he was trying to unite the islands together. He tried a couple times to come over here. The first time he got turned back in the middle of the channel, ran into a storm. The following year, he had amassed a very large army on Oahu, and before he could leave, more than half of them got sick and died. So it stopped him again another year. But that time, King Kamuali'i, king of Kauai, kind of saw the writing on the wall, and knew Kamehameha was not going to stop, nor did he have the forces to repel him off. So he took his little entourage over to Oahu, and a little sit-down chat with him, and agreed to cede the island under Kamehameha's rule as long as he was able to come back here and rule as king, and then his sons after him. And Kamehameha agreed. I think he was just tired of fighting, honestly. There's a stream that comes off the south wall here. You can see on the right down there, and on the left here, Elizabeth. You can see it down there. This stream is called Vaiahi. Vai means water in Hawaiian. Ahi does not mean tuna. It means fiery red. But the Hawaiians named tuna that because of the coloring of its meat. It named a lot of things like that. Like koa means warrior, but they named the tree koa. The neat thing about this stream, it kind of disappears into the hills here. And it feeds the old Lahui canals that they used to water the sugarcane. And there's a company here called Kauai Backcountry Adventures, and they tube the canals. It's a pretty neat little excursion thing you can do here on the island. If you can get into it, I highly recommend it. There's 5 tunnels that run underground here, and the last one's about a half a mile long. You sit in these tubes, the helmet and the light, and it takes about 50 minutes to get all the way through. You can see one of the trucks there, or some of the tours are going to be starting there for the tubing. The tunnels have been around for, I don't know, probably like late 1800s, but this is all privately owned land, so still only have access to it.
And then yet you'll find Hawaii.
All these flat-looking trees you guys see, they're everywhere here on the island. Those are called African albizia trees. They were brought in by the state a long time ago with hopes to use them for lumber, but they don't grow the same as they grow in Africa. They grow super fast here. Real quick. You can see all the tubes there to the right. That's where you get out. So, because of the rate at which it grows, its woods are useless for pretty much anything. And they've become a really bad invasive species here on the island. And so on state property, the state has a bioenergy program where we're cutting them down, burning them at night to run generators for electricity. We also have some really big solar fields on the west side of the island. and they provide about 90% of our electricity during the day. Another cool little hike is this little mountain right over here to the left. It's called the Sleeping Giant. It's not very high, it doesn't take very long, but it's an awesome view of the east side. I actually live right at the bottom of it. But do you like getting up early in the morning? Get up early before the sunrise, hike it. You don't have to go all the way up, at least halfway, and then watch the sunrise from the east. It's fantastic. Guys, now that you've seen it from the air, hope it helps you and makes your time here on the island a little more enjoyable. Hawaii's pretty cool. It's very laid back. It's very country. It can be a good thing. Most of the time it's a good thing. Sometimes it can be a kind of a pain, especially if you're waiting for food or something in a restaurant. But we got a lot of good different types of food here. It comes from all the different types of ethnic groups we got here on the island. So hope you guys enjoyed your time around the island. This was a pleasure of mine taking you guys around. Thanks for coming out and taking the ride with Blue. And again, guys, my name's Elio, and hope you guys enjoy the ride. I've got to turn the mics off here, and we'll get back into the airport. Once we land, I'll turn it back on, so if you guys have any last questions, please feel free to ask them. Sit back, relax. I'll have you guys on the ground here in a couple minutes. Once we land, give me a minute, I'll shut the blades down, hang tight, allow myself or the ground support to open the doors for you guys, once I get the blades down, and once we're out of the aircraft, everyone, you guys can head to the number you were assigned when we got into the aircraft, and then as a group, we'll escort you guys all back in. Mics are back on. Any other last questions, please feel free to ask. One last